There you go. Okay, go to the next slide. So Qlipso is a community media viewer, and I'll give you a quick rundown on the name. I just got back from Malaysia and India, and there's actually a Malaysian firefly called the Qlipso, and this little creature synchronizes its blasts of light, and it's actually pretty cool to see. And the original young guy who founded the company came up with the name because he found this Malaysian firefly, and it's kind of a good metaphor for what we do. We synchronize the media, people's communication, personal expression, all in the same environment. So as you can see up there in that graphic, you can see any sort of flash media, not just a video, but a game, music, photo slideshow. You can represent yourself as an avatar, a webcam. You can use your Facebook thumbnail, and soon other thumbnails from partners or other avatars. You can have voice chat. You can have text chat. And you can do this all live together, or you can do it asynchronously. So you can pull together a session that you like and leave it up there, and your friends can just come to that room and share the media that you've shared later. So it kind of pulls together the best of your TV room or a sports bar or a comedy club. It allows you to do it together live with friends, or it allows you to do it asynchronously in a richer way than just posting things on your Facebook feed. It's a white label strategy, so we're partnering with companies that have content and audience, and there's multiple revenue streams. There are virtual items, there are ads. And so typically where this fits in is every site that publishes video or any other flash-based content has some sort of viewer application. So this is just an alternative. It can work as a substitute for things like Longtail or Brightcove, or it could work in addition to those things to add some social content and other revenue streams. So let's go to the next slide. So this kind of shows how it works out. With these avatars, you can pull in a typical virtual economy where you can buy goods, behaviors, sound effects. There's also room for advertisements. And then again, this is where all the activity is happening. And I came out of the video game industry. I built with friends from college what became the largest independent video game developer. And we sold that in 2006. And I was very interested in what was then at the time emerging as now a very common form of entertainment, multiplayer worlds and virtual worlds. And the idea here is to apply that same business model and user experience to what is mostly advertising-supported media. So let's go to the next slide. Two key pieces of technology, a generalized approach to synchronization, so it's not an API by API approach, so you can go to almost any site on the web that has embeddable flash media and make that part of a sharing experience. And two, a 3D engine right on the same layer as the flash media. So that experience you saw in the first graphic is a web-based experience. So we've got a variety of ways to access this. You can access it in the browser, you can access it as a Facebook application, and you can access it as a downloadable client for people who are the most passionate. Let's go to the next one. We kind of covered that. Let's go on to the next one so we've got time for questions. Most people in this room probably know this, but virtual goods is a real business. This year, 2010, it's projected to be $1.6 billion in the US, and that's only about a fourth of the world. So that's why I'm in places like Asia and India, because it's a big opportunity outside of the US. Here's what we're looking for. We're looking for partners to adopt this. I've got a financial sponsor. It's called Jerusalem Venture Partners, so we're looking for some tuck-in acquisition candidates. And then as we grow and pursue that strategy, we'll be looking for other financial partners. So there.
And sorry to sound if I'm harsh here, but this is like the fourth time I've seen this kind of business proposal. There's a company called, if I remember right, Multiply that tried this, and it did it in a sexier way, and it didn't go anywhere. Why do you think you're different?
I think I think there are a few things that are different here. I think the generalized approach to pulling in the media is a huge difference. Most companies that have tried this have had more of an API by API approach, so it doesn't give you access to all the stuff on the web. So once you have limited things that you can look at and share, then I think it's less attractive. And in addition, it brings in games, music, and other forms of popular media. I think the biggest reason that it's different from other offerings is the accessibility. So because we've got a partner strategy that it goes right on their content, it doesn't go within a special backwater part of their site, then any piece of media is an on-ramp to a social experience. So this can apply to all the content on their site. They don't have to reprocess it for streaming. They don't have to do any serious integration. So I think it's more accessible to both the business partner and to the user.
So you mentioned the strategy is to white label this thing. So how many partners do you have today for that?
So we announced this in November, and we've got 5 partners right now. We'll be launching with our first one in the next couple days, and that's Dorm Life, which is one of the top original shows on Hulu. We've got some other great partners. We've got a teen girl site in the UK. We've got another teen site here. We've got a music site, and I think I've got 2 additional partners from my recent trip to Asia.
So I'll give you a slightly different opinion than Robert gave you. So making the web more immersive is like where things are headed. The question I've got is, can you guys hang out long enough until this really hits? Can you build enough partner streams so that 4 years from now, when this may be something that a lot of people are kind of thinking about, you guys are still around?
Well, runway is the open question. I've got a pretty committed financial partner, and it's an Israeli group, and anybody that knows Israelis know they're like a stubborn crowd. So I don't think they're giving up too easily. But in terms of the partner discussions, they've actually gone pretty easily, because in almost every company I'm talking to, there's 2 internal discussions that are going on. One is how do we engage the social web, and 2 is how do we make additional money. So I walk into the midst of that internal discussion and say, look, you don't need to change your content. You can integrate this in half an hour. And 2, we'll bring you a virtual goods economy to your existing Flash-based content. So it's a biz dev challenge, and it is a question of time and runway, but I think I can keep pounding out deals till we have some critical mass.
Good to see you. I was just going to ask about the virtual goods side, because if I'm thinking it from the standpoint of from a white label, and I'm basically, you're coming and saying we can offer this, exactly how does that manifest for me as a media company or a site, as far as, are you handling, as far as, do I have to create all the assets, how is the transactions happening? Like, it feels like for some groups it could be like, now you're opening up a whole other kind of realm, or are you basically centralizing that as Qlipso across all of these different brands?
So we're offering a central group of virtual goods, and then like a lot of other virtual economies like IMVU or Second Life, you can actually put in specialized content. So let's take it, if you're a big media company, you can have your own private swag, and that sort of makes people want to enter through your product. So it's really just taking what's very familiar to me in the world of games and virtual goods and applying it. It's just a copycat application to...
But you basically handle that in the sense
we handle all the social wrapping, including the video, voice, virtual goods.
I guess my question is around the size of the market. I mean, given that at least with video watching now, it's pretty concentrated on a fairly small set of sites, it feels like you're a bit of a long tail play. Do you have a sense of how much value is here and what percentage of the market you can go after?
I think that as premium content migrates to the web, that'll be the most likely for sharing. So sports content, TV shows, comedy, movies. So like one of the groups I was talking to in Asia has the largest kung fu library in the world. I know that, a lot of people from the markets I know will be watching that. But the thing that's interesting, if you model out a virtual world or MMO, there's awesome profitability between 30,000 and 100,000 users. So if we get market penetration of millions, that's great, but this business is extremely profitable at low levels.
Time to wrap it up. Thanks so much, Qlipso.
Great.